Hello, I'm Tyler Thompson, aka Space Explained, and welcome to my first ever video. It's finally happened. NASA's SLS rocket has performed a hot fire. Well, sort of. The SLS core stage aborted its first ever static fire at T plus 1 minute, which was expected to go on for 8 minutes, as you can see here. In this video, I will be going over the entire static fire process, including startup and shutdown, and what went wrong that caused the abort of the test. As many of you space fans may know, we have been waiting and watching for this historic test run of NASA's SLS rocket for months. It has been constantly pushed back and is one of the biggest milestones before Artemis 1. NASA's first mission for their next-gen program to land on and colonize the moon. Is the only serious program to land people on the moon in over 50 years. We all watched and waited as the SLS core stage elegantly stood out there on the pad, waiting for those 4 amazing RS-25s to light and blow the world away. Something that I'm sure most of us probably noticed was those streams of propellant coming out of the tips of the tubes that were on all 4 of the RS-25s. This is perfectly normal and is something that is known as engine chill. They need to run propellant through the engines to make them cooler so that they don't suffer from thermal shock when the engines are running for real. A few seconds before ignition, some major sparks start flying. These are the igniters for the RS-25s. They shoot sparks out to help the engines get started and to get the turbopump spinning. I'll do a video about engine cycles and how turbopump assemblies work in the near future. Anyways, once the engines were spinning, NASA started collecting tons of data, like terabytes at a time, of data about how the rocket handles different stresses, vibrations, and pressures while the engines are running. The test went well with some beautiful shots of the exhaust plume and 4 RS-25s, including my new favorite shot of these majestic and historical engines. At about T plus 50 seconds, we heard the mission operators call out for an engine gimbal check. And then immediately after, we heard another operator saying that there had been an anomaly with TVC. Soon after, the engine started shutting down. The process took a few seconds and, from our perspective, looked rather violent. But engine shutdown was successful and the rocket didn't blow up, so that's a win in my book. Now, some people may ask, what is TVC and what went wrong? TVC is the thrust vector control, or in the case of the RS-25s and most rocket engines for that matter, gimbals. Gimbaling is the ability to move the rocket engine around to allow the engine to provide thrust in a different direction, inducing control over the rocket. A good example of gimbaling is during the Falcon 9 and Starship's landing burn. But this is a bigger topic that I'll also go into more detail about in the future. In the meantime, let's just watch this quick animation by Kimi Talvitie, I think is how you pronounce her name. I'm so sorry if I pronounced that wrong. The abort was caused because of an anomaly with the TVC system. I haven't been able to find any information about what specifically went wrong, but I suspect either low hydraulic pressure or a leak in the hydraulic systems was the culprit. One thing that I think surprised us all after the abort was when the commentators told us that the SLS core stage would be moving out to Kennedy Space Center to be fitted with everything that it needs to fly Artemis 1, despite the anomaly with the hot fire. I personally found it insane that NASA, of all companies, was moving on with the launch despite the partial failure. The only explanation that I personally can come up with is that they figured they need to get the SLS flying and that the mission will be uncrewed, and it was okay to cut back on safety a little, but this is highly unlike NASA, and there's probably some other bigger reason that I am not aware of. To sum it all up, NASA's SLS rocket performed a hot fire but aborted it at around 1 minute due to an anomaly with TVC. All of my sources are listed in the description below. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.